Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of God of YouTube. So just a quick one. So at the moment, where me and Michael are standing inside the greenhouse, as we've just not long done a video on the another bit of the allotments. It did start to rain, so I'm actually quite glad that I'm inside. I'm under wraps now. So yeah, just a brief one of this. So obviously, as we all know, this is a greenhouse. So I mainly, use this in the winter for, as you can see, storing all little bits and bobs, so they're not, out in the weather elements. Like me plant pots, trays, and composts.
So let's just run through just little bits. It's quite a mixture you've got going on down here.
Yes,
so you've got some seed trays.
I have.
Or section trays as they call them.
Yeah.
Small plant pots.
I have indeed.
And I have seen, I think it was when you cleaned that out.
Yeah.
There was some bigger pots, or were they back there?
Yes,
so you've got different sizes of pots.
Yeah.
Now, tools in a glass house.
Right.
Obviously, there was the video not too long ago about the allotment being broken into. Does this not make it a bit of a target? Because there's some quite big, heavy bits of equipment in here. There's an axe sticking out there.
Yeah. There's
shovels. Does that not make your allotment a bit of an easy target for stealing?
Yes. Yes, it does. Obviously, we've never had to. We've never had to worry in such of break-ins because, like I've said previously, in a couple of videos, before. Obviously, because we've got all the houses, around, it's quite a very small site. Up until the break-ins, obviously, that we've not long just had, it's never really crossed our mind. We have known about it, but we've been a bit more comforted by the fact of what I've just said, But obviously, because we've had our now first breaking at all on the site, the tools now that you see will be going into the tool shed. They will be getting locked away.
I'm getting dripped.
I know, yeah. I am well up on it. They won't be left out.
No,
they won't be left
it's a
out.
bit of a, obviously, if the site's fully secure, this site's not covered by CCTV or anything like that.
No.
If the site's fully secure and safe, then this would be fine.
Yeah.
But I think just as a precaution, I think we might have to reconsider about tool storage.
Yes. Like I've said, assuming as we've had now our first break-in, everything will be getting locked away now. This won't be here now at all.
Because all of this won't be cheap. Just looking, you've got two shovels, they're what, £30-40 each? Maybe, roughly. Forks, rakes. Yeah. I'm not even going to mention the axe because I have no idea on how much axes are these days. Yeah. But you've got quite a bit of expensive equipment in here.
Yeah, I suppose not just that, but I suppose most of these tools, that I've got here, as well, I've had for quite some years. Obviously, this fork and spade, and a few other bits and bobs was a Christmas present a while back.
It's a little bit sentimental too.
Yeah, I wouldn't want them, to get robbed or vandalised. So all the tools definitely will be getting locked away. So if they get robbed out of a tool locker that's got a padlock on, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do.
But at least you've taken
But at least I've taken precautions. Unfortunately, when people think of burglars, if you've got a fancy padlock on, it's not going to bother them. No. In fact, it's going to encourage them to break in because they're going to look at your fancy lock. Whether you're on an allotment or whether you're at home, and they'll go, that's cost quite a lot. There's definitely something that's in there that they don't want me to get in. Yeah. So it will give them the more of a go ahead to want to be encouraged to break in. Obviously, it's an allotment, so normally 9 times out of 10, people will just put a bit of a twig all that in. But because of the winds we have down here, a twig will snap and the door will go flying open. So that's why we don't go and buy fancy I haven't got a fancy padlock. I think I bought mine from $2.99 about 3 years ago from B&M. It's definitely nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy.
So
but it does the job.
All it does is it's just there to keep the door closed in case you get winds. But like I say, in the spring this will all get sorted out, and rearranged.
Maybe even used. I'm looking at stuff.
Yeah. So normally I'll have pots at the back. and that, you know, grow bags. I normally do the tomatoes in here.
I think this is what they call winter mode, where everything's just shut down, packed away.
It's you know, winter time is a time where, you know, if you got a sort of nice-ish day, you know, you come down, you clean all your tools, any composts, you make sure they're all, you know, they're not waterlogged, they can't get any, you know, anything seed-wise or bulb-wise, you make sure that if they're not planted or you can't plant them at that time, you know, they're well ventilated, they're dry, and put away in a box.
I love how you've brought that up, because we mentioned it in a previous video. You planted the elephant garlic.
We have indeed.
Do we have any of those left to plant?
Yes. So there must have been at least 50, maybe 60 bulbs that have gone in there.
About 50, 60, yeah.
So at the moment,
there's still a fair clump.
We've still got, I would say, a fair clump.
40 or 50.
Now, if anybody's not familiar with this is elephant garlic. Now, I'm going to hold a bulb up, and
you'll be able to see why.
You'll be able to see why. Now, if you look at my hand, and I'm going to pick one of these up. Now, that's not your average garlic that you'd pick up from Sainsbury's, Tesco's or Morrison. That is what they call elephant garlic. It's the most giantest garlic you'll ever buy. Now, I grow them all year round. They was given to me by another allotment holder about 2 years ago. I gave him a bunch of carrots, he gave me a bunch of bulbs, which I think is a fair share if you know what an allotment holder is.
Yeah.
It was a win-win situation, so I've been cultivating them, growing them, and I've ended up with quite a few. So yeah, that's just a little bit on the greenhouse.
Compost.
Yeah.
There's 2 big massive bags there.
There is.
Now, what type of... there's different types of compost for planting different sort of things, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
You can't use some compost for, like, plant pots that you use on, like, a window bedding plant, or... There's different types of compost for different jobs.
There is. So, obviously, these bags here, this is a multi-purpose compost.
It does say that.
Yeah. I bought them from B&Q. It was last year. And obviously, because I've kept them, you know, frost-free and that, you know, the moisture retains in them. There's nothing wrong with them. I think it was 2 for 12, something like that, or 2 for 10 at B&Q. Midsummer, they'll always have, you know, bags like that on hand. And you can use that's an all multi-purpose, is an all-round.
You can use it
everywhere. You can dig it into your ground in your raised beds. You can use it for potting up, planting tomatoes, seed trays, hanging baskets, or just casually scattering as a layer around your fruit trees or fruit bushes. It is, you know, it's an all-round compost. If you're going to use it for seeds, I would say sieve it first through a sieve. You do get quite a lot of clumps in it.
And branches and bits of rubble.
And that. But yeah, it retains the moisture, and it's a well all-round, you know, compost.
There's other little bits in here as well that people might have seen in other videos. I'm looking down this way. Yeah,
so that was another previous video. The old,
we all remember this
one. The old, as they say, knocking up tub, as the you know, as the plasterers would say. I found that. That was out on the street somewhere, and because I knew I was going to redo the pond, I needed something deep enough and large enough to put all the pond plants in. So at the time, I just filled it with water, put all the pond plants in, while you know, so they got somewhere to be while I was doing the pond. When the pond was done, the pond plants went back into their original place, and I thought, you know what, next year it can come in handy for putting some soil in and growing a few bits and bobs. Michael helped me drill a few drainage holes around it and at the bottom, so it doesn't waterlog.
It can definitely be repurposed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But if for those that don't remember, that video sort of went viral.
It did.
The frogs.
Yeah, the frogs was living in it. I've just got to say, no harming came to the frogs while the making of them.
Disclaimer.
You know, so I'm just going to put that there. The frogs found refuge and they was released happily back into their pond. Natural habitat, where they're probably still in there, or they've actually left.
We haven't seen them since.
To go and find you know, other partners, and I'm damn sure that they'll be back with more babies in the spring.
We'll see them around. But yeah, it's all about repurposing, isn't it, on an allotment?
Yeah.
So if you've got stuff like this, or we've mentioned in previous videos, your water butt barrels,
exactly,
anything like that, then just repurpose it.
Anything like this can be also used for even growing lettuces in, or if you know someone, say for example, that's got a hell of a lot of strawberry runners, fill it up with a bit of soil. In that, personally, I would put about 3, maybe 4 runners.
Yeah.
Just scatter them, because with strawberries they grow like wildfire, and within a year it'll be whole full up. So you'll triple your plants anyway. They'll just do it on their own. So yeah, should be good.
Question.
Okay.
Why have you got netting?
So that is obviously, that's got to come down at some point. So what happened was, when I had tomatoes obviously at the back, and I also had sweet chili peppers at the front, and the sun that year was very bright, and it was very hot in here, and I had to put some of this up as a netting, which at the time I thought it might deter the sun from coming through. Unfortunately, it's because of it being green netting, it really didn't do much at all.
Distracts it.
So I then went out, moving on to a different sort of thingy, which is this here, which is what they call an automatic roof opener.
Now, we have seen you, we have mentioned this in a previous video.
Yes.
And you did get caught on the time lapse messing with it.
I did indeed.
Tell us what that does and how it works.
Right, so as you know, normally you have a normal handle on the roof with like a clip, which you do it automatically, varies your hand. But this one, what happens is you just connect it with various screws. You put one on the window itself and one on the actual frame. And this piston, which is here, if I'm correct, it's got like a type of grease. And when that grease warms up, it pushes that metal piston out, which opens the window. And when the temperature goes cooler and the grease inside starts to thicken again, it pulls the piston in, which closes the window. That's why at the moment, because it's quite cool outside, the window is closed. And you can leave that to do it when it needs to. You don't have to worry about, I've got to go down the allotment because I've got to open my windows, because otherwise, it's going to completely fry, my tomatoes or whatever you've got growing. This will automatically do it for you. Yeah, it does state that you are meant to unscrew that and take it out and take it home, because it doesn't do well with the frost. But unfortunately, you don't seem to get frost inside of a greenhouse. No. Where we are, in the country, yes, you do get a lot of frost.
It's not severe enough to affect in here.
It's not severe. If you was in Scotland or somewhere where you were getting blizzards, then
different story.
It's a different story. I don't think I'd have much left. No. But yeah, so I'll just leave it there. I've known other people to leave theirs in as well. It doesn't really affect them. So, and if it did, they're not really expensive. I think they're like £24 on Amazon, something like that. So
they're quite handy to have.
They are.
It's another thing that you don't have to worry about.
Well, you don't have to worry about. If you're at work or whatnot, you don't have to rush down the allotment. Just to be a superhero and save your tomatoes. You just let it do it on its own, and it will take care of it. So.
Right. So you don't have to Batman.
No.
To rescue your plants.
No.
That does it. Does everything on its own.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to cover from the glass house? That's got him thinking.
Obviously, my advice would be, whichever glass house that you've got, number one, make sure that when you're building it, you've definitely got a sturdy base. That's a big thing. Number two, make sure that it's not anywhere surrounding trees or rubble, just in case you get bad weather, because it will go straight through your greenhouse, which has happened to me. And also at the same time, make sure that you don't clutter it, because you don't want to have an accident. And a few little helpful tips is don't do what I did and put green netting up, because it doesn't do anything. If you are going to put a netting up, make sure that it is black, because it doesn't let, you know, it will let the light through, but it's a lot darker. So things like that help you to make sure that you've got a bit of shading, so you know your leaves on your vegetables don't get scorched. Make sure that if you are going to have a big crop in here of tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, whatever it is, make sure that you are able to get an airflow as well, because when the sun goes on top of it, it will fry everything. It's very hot. You don't want your doors and windows closed. If you're worried about animals getting in, there's a simple hack which I've learnt is open your door, drop a bit of netting or whatnot down, put a pallet in front, just so you know, just so nothing can come through.
It's not a free for all.
Yeah, and obviously for those who do work and whatnot, you've got a greenhouse. If you haven't got one of those handy little things, I suggest you get one. Like I said, I bought that for £24.99 off Amazon, which was a year ago, and it's never let me down. So brilliant little handy device. So if you ain't got one, definitely get one.
It's quite easy to maintain as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
just keep an eye on it. 2-second job.
I've never had to touch it. So
okay, brilliant.
So yeah. So anyway, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall be back very soon with some more handy little tips. Any comments, don't forget to link them below, and I shall see you very soon. Take care.